Well, you're right guys, just walking around the tomatoes like I do, well, most mornings, just to see if anything needs de-side shooting or any flowers need tickling or lower leaves need taken off. And I got around to the front of the veggie pod and they have Aminopyralid poisoning. So on the left there we have Amish paste, and that one there is Britain's breakfast. And look at all the flowers on that, it's incredible. Now both of these are planted in 30 litre buckets on the 16th of May, according to my records. So I went back to see what compost I had available, and instant relief, it is not living green because that didn't arrive till the 25th of May or thereabouts. So it's another compost. So went back through the old videos and I had just finished a compost trial. So we'll talk about that in a second. I mean, look at the leaves. It's just like a fern uncurling, all rolled up. And it's only the young growth at the top of the plant. All these other leaves that are curled, that's just your normal tomato leaf curl, like that. And that's from where the plant's been a bit cool at night and a bit warm in the day. The leaves flex backwards and forwards, and they, just shows they're not very happy, but they're okay. Just for comparison, look, this is a tomato with just normal leaf curl. It's on every leaf. It's been a bit cool in the evenings. It's been a bit warm in the daytimes. The leaves do it. Some do, some don't. Some tomatoes are more susceptible than others. I mean, here's the one in the grow bag. Look, the trenched tomatoes, I'd go so far as to say, not a sign of it. Really, really bad, eh? And that's the better of the two plants. Here we are from a different angle. I'm going to leave these growing just to see what happens. I don't think taking the growing tips off would have any effect. I'll look at the old Tinternet and see what it says. First time for me. Anyway, Detective House got his thinking cap on and went through a few old videos and things like that. And this is what we come up with. Back in the middle of April, I did another comparison test of 4 composts with Mother Earth compost as a control. And they were Aldi, B&Q, my own and J. Arthur Bowers. Now I've straight away ruled out Mother Earth compost because I used it everywhere and everything would be dying, so Mother Earth's okay. I've also ruled out my own compost because I don't use that in pots, so it can't be that. And I've also ruled out the J. Arthur Bowers because I remember the pH was quite low, well below neutral, and I used that for 3 buckets of potatoes, and they're fine. And that brings us on to the Aldi Garden Line compost. Now, one of the reasons I'm going to discount this is because there's only 40 litres in the bag, and I have a bucket of potatoes that says Aldi on it. Well, it says Aldi plus ME, Mother Earth, so I wouldn't have had enough compost to fill 2 tomato buckets at 30 litres each. And I did not mix any compost for tomatoes. Well, that leaves the B&Q Good Home multi-purpose compost. Now this one has 50 litres in it. Each of the 30 litre buckets had 2 1 litre tomato plants in, plus about a litre of a soda bottle, so that's 27 litres. 2 lots 27.54, they're not filled up to the brim. Good chance there's all 50 litres in the two buckets. And also, feeling the compost and looking at the colour of the compost, it feels like the B&Q one. This is the Aldi one I'm doing now, and this is the B&Q one. A lot more fibrous, I'd say. I'm guessing the reason I didn't notice this in the lettuce trial, with the compost comparison, was that just like the tomatoes, it takes a while to show up. If you want to do the test for the compost, the best thing to do is use legumes, peas and broad beans, and they show up by the 3rd or 4th leaf stage. So I'm putting my problem down to the B&Q compost, but I cannot say without any shadow of a doubt that it is definitely the B&Q compost. I mean, let's face it guys, B&Q don't make the compost, they don't know what they're selling. If there's any blame to be proportioned or apportioned, it should be either with the farmer who hasn't labelled the contaminated hay or grass, or the compost makers themselves who've totally ignored the label. It even states on the Dow data sheet for these herbicides that whatever it's used on should stay on the farm, like the manure or the hay. If it leaves the farm, it needs a proper certificate. Luckily for me, the contamination's only in 2 buckets, so I can tip those out onto a bed, and what I'll do for the next couple of years is just grow brassicas and corn, that sort of thing, because they're not affected. There is a petition to stop the use of amino and clopyralid herbicides in the UK. I've put a link to it in the video description below. It needs about another 1,000 signatures before it's considered to be heard in Parliament. You never know, it might do something. On the end screen coming up in a few seconds, I've put a link to a couple of Charles Dowdin's videos about this very problem, the Aminopyralid. He explains it 1,000 times better than I do. Even if you think you know all about it, they're certainly worth watching. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. That doesn't sound right. Bit macabre. I hope this has been informative for you guys, and I hope you never suffer this problem. Such a waste after all that effort growing the young plants. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next video.